Okay, cool. Hello, Denimheads, and welcome to your 19th Hangout with the Sons of Selvedge. This is a podcast where a group of friends get together to talk about denim, menswear, and related interests. We aim for this to be a fun and inclusive podcast where you feel like you're hanging out with longtime friends. But be warned, there's a bit of banter, cutting up, and explicit language. Speaking of longtime friends, it's been a while since we've all just sort of hung out and talked current interest and banter and a bunch of tomfoolery. So this episode's actually just going to be a general hangout with the founders. There's no specific discussion topic or guest. We're just going to kick it and see where things go, which I think should be a lot of fun. Unfortunately, Kevin's traveling the world, so he won't be with us this episode. But yeah, I hope you enjoy it. And maybe Andy, you want to kick things off?
Yeah, I suppose I can. Sorry, it's been a hard weekend with an angry toddler. Yeah. What kind of?
I didn't know I came over.
Hey,
Must run out of Bridgerton.
My big fad at the moment, and I got into it literally this week, and it's fucking amazing. And massive shout out to Paolo over at Middle Earth Crisis podcast for introducing this to me. But it's a podcast called Old Gods of Appalachia, which is a horror anthology podcast. They've done 3 seasons with a few kind of short kind of segues in the middle or interludes, and it's all kind of set in like an alternative Appalachia, kind of in the kind of early 1900s to kind of like the the 1920s stock crash period. It's all kind of in Kentucky and Tennessee and Georgia, and the guy who narrates it is kind of a native from around there, and the woman who writes it is the same, and it's just super atmospheric, and it's really, really well done. Like you wouldn't, the first season alone is, which I kind of smashed out in about 2 days, and it's like 10 episodes, each about half an hour long. Is just really, really kind of creepy and kind of, it's got Lovecraft. There's loads of like Lovecraft elements in there and stuff, minus the blatant racism. But he's really, really well done. I'm halfway through. In fact, I'm over halfway through season 2 at the moment. I literally started listening to it probably Tuesday. It's fucking mega, and like they're really involved with their community. They've got a really good community set up. They they do a Patreon, but all that gives you access to a few extra storylines that they haven't released normally. And they do like live readings on Discord and stuff, like one shots. And this is something that maybe David will like. They got backing to make a tabletop RPG out of their storyline, and that did a Kickstarter, and they've hit like $2 million on backing for it.
That'd
which is
cool.
like is massive. I know it's not like miniatures or anything like that. It's literally just like a Dungeon Dragon style. It's some books, but people have got so into it that they've just smashed all their kind of backing targets, and they hit their top one already, and they've still got time to go. So yeah, it's really, really cool. If you like something that's a little bit spooky, definitely worth a download. It's on iTunes, and it's all free, bar a few storylines which you have to get through Patreon.
Yeah, I've got a book to be read. Matt Ruff, he's done like a few different kind of science fiction / fiction books, but he wrote that book, Lovecraft Country, which is something, I guess, kind of Lovecraftian meets sort of American racism problems. I wonder, is it kind of in that ballpark, or?
I say I haven't watched Lovecraft Country yet already, but maybe it's not. It doesn't kind of go into like really obvious Lovecraft references, so it doesn't go into like Cthulhu and the old gods and all that stuff. Everything, all the gods mentioned in it are more like, they kind of describe it as there's these areas within America where these kind of old gods or spirits have lain, and kind of everyone who's from the land So like the Native Americans, they know always to avoid that place because it's sketchy. But all the kind of the white settlers have come in, and they don't know all this stuff, and they've just gone in and started smashing it up, and like the railroads have caused it, and the mining, and it's all kind of brought it up to the fore.
A bit on the gaming world,
Mm.
two things that are kind of related to that are interesting is there's this really popular board game called Spirit Island, and the kind of premise of it is you're the spirits in this island somewhere in a mystical ocean, doesn't really matter where it is, and you've got like in the age of sail, you've got conquistadors kind of coming into your island, so you've got like Spanish conquistadors and French, whatever else, and you're basically the spirits on this island sort of fighting them off. So like you're like the ocean current spirit, or like you're the, I don't know, lightning spirit, and you're basically kind of like trying to destroy these conquistadors and invaders from blighting your land, and the natives know about you and worship you and kind of fight with you, and all the like superpower cards in the game are like they all sound like heavy metal bands. They're like earth crushing grasp of volcanic destruction or whatever.
I love that album.
Yeah, and it's a super good game. And the other game of interest is called Horrified American Monsters, and it's more like more of a family friendly / enthusiast game. So Horrified is a bit more kind of anyone could play it. It's not too complicated, but they did a box of it that's all these kind of like American folklore monsters. So it says you've got Bigfoot, Mothman, Jersey Devil, Chupacabra, Banshee of the Badlands, and the Ozark Howler. So I'm wondering if there's some kind of crossover with the creatures you're trying to survive against in that game and characters in this podcast.
You have to give it a try, mate. I think they've done everything. They've kind of they've looked at kind of the old Appalachian folklore, and then they've created everything. Some characters are based on real people, and then they've kind of run with it. So there's the running characters of the Walker sisters, and they were real people around that time, and they owned this house out in the hills that was kind of I think if it's true to the story, it was originally a parlor house that then became a home for women on the run, kind of like a refuge, and they've kind of run with that, and then added kind of a like a magical element to them with their ability, their stuff, as well as like the really kind of eldritch Lovecraftian stuff. So they've just kind of run with it. It's really good.
Actually sounds like Cormac McCarthy inspired, maybe. I know like he did kind of his post-apocalyptic stuff with The Road, but some of his other books I think kind of get into the mystical a bit and kind of the folklore.
Yeah, I've heard that mentioned. Maybe with less necrophilia. If we're going off like Blood Meridian.
What? Less necrophilia?
What? Less? I'm outraged.
Why am I even here?
Yeah, the Road.
The scariest thing about Lovecraft is his lack of lips. It's just horrible.
Oh man, I'm gonna check that out. I'm definitely gonna listen to the podcast, and am tempted by the RPG. Like I've just found a local D&D group that I might try and start attending.
I will. I'll send you a link to the website. It's all, as I say, it's all on iTunes. Just start from the beginning and just work your way through it, because it all, from what I've heard, everything ties into each other. There's all like 3 characters and stuff like that.
Maybe it'll be featured right alongside our podcast in the best of iTunes podcasting.
Definitely. Top 3.
Bargain Basement podcast.
Are those all games behind you, David?
It's my wall of geek. So it's like board games, miniatures, comic books, everything. So I'm in our garage bedroom, which is sort of the place where I have to hide all the stuff that my partner doesn't want lying around the house. So amongst other things, yeah, there's some board games there, 1 or 2. Trying to downsize. Yeah, I just got too hot upstairs, so I had to move into the basement. or sorry, garage.
It's the basement where you will stay for the rest
what
of your
kind of
days as a
basement?
troglodyte.
I wish I had a basement. I've actually never lived anywhere that has them. Like, actually, that's not true. In Paris, they had cabs, which are like proper underground, hide from bombing, Nazi bomb raid type shelters. But yeah, in the States, I've never had like a place with a basement. So Texas didn't have it, California didn't have it, UK I haven't had it. So I feel like it's an experience I'm missing. Although hearing how people's basements flood, maybe not. But I don't know. Could be interesting. Cool. Well, I guess
Who's next?
yeah, I guess I can add something out in there. So I've obviously acquired this dude off of eBay.
There we go.
Yeah, it's a Red Wing branded Brannock device I bought some months ago. I've wanted one of these guys for a while because I always have problems with getting my shoes to fit, and I'm a US 10, and like I buy 10s, and my toes get squashed, and over the pandemic, my feet have definitely increased like half a size, in the sense that like my foot's kind of like done this a bit because I never wear shoes anymore. So I finally kind of said, screw it. I'm just gonna like buy a Brannock and stop questioning, my shoe sizing, and just sort of like truly verse myself in the science of this thing. So a lot of companies will base their shoe last off the Brannock. And I got it for like I think 20 pounds on eBay, which is pretty cool. I'm guessing the guy might have like stole it from a Red Wing store, or one went out of business, because it's definitely like not the like standard fare, Brannock you would get if you bought it from them. Like, so it definitely came from a Red Wing store. But anyways, so why it was super interesting was like I did the standard thing they always do at shoe stores, like you put your heel here and you like see how far your toes go, and you get your shoe size, and like I'm basically unsurprisingly a US 10. And so like if I went to like your standard fare shoe store, they would say, oh yeah, your foot goes there. From there, you're a 10. Do your left heel, yep, almost a 10. Therefore, you pick the bigger two numbers and you're a 10. And then of course you can do like the width, and that like basically kind of slides side by side, and compares. I should probably turn the blur off my camera. But yeah, there you go. If it's right in front of me, like you do this, you get your foot width. So like size 10, I'm a D, standard D width. But what's really interesting is I'd read a lot about arch length, or ball to heel length. So basically this is like your heel to your toe, which is the standard measurement. But the second is you go from your heel to the knuckle on your big toe. So without kind of putting my toe in the air, if this is my foot and these are like my toes, it's basically this big fat knuckle right there, like by your big toe. So pretend that's my big toe. And you basically put this dude, so you put your finger on your knuckle and you slide this guy so that it basically is sitting right on your knuckle. And interestingly, I found out that for my arch length, I'm a US 11 rather than a 10. So in theory, based upon Brannock science, you pick the bigger of the two numbers. So like my left foot's like a 10.5 arch and my right foot's an 11 arch. So in theory, all this time where I've been buying 10 size US 10 shoes, I should have been buying US 11, because the arch is basically like what kind of goes with the bend of your boot. Whereas like your toes don't really matter, right? Because the last will stick out anyways in the front some amount. So interesting, yeah. I've been buying a lot of my shoes too small, and yeah, unsurprisingly, all of my shoes that are based on a US 10 are the ones that like squash my pinky toes, and like on the front. So yeah, I'm basically having to sell a bunch of shoes that don't fit, and I've bought like one or two shoes in a US 11 based measurement, and like it's night and day. It's so crazy that my shoes just feel great now. So if folks like want to like really get into this, I highly recommend maybe picking up a Brannock off of eBay. Be careful, because there's the US Brannock, there's the UK, there's a women's Brannock and a kids, and there's a combo Euro, which has like the Euro size and Japanese size. They're color coded, so like the black is the US men's, the blue is the U.S. women's, I think, or something like that. But you can go JFGI it and figure that out. But super interesting because I've been buying my shoes wrong all this time, and I'm guessing when we're boot enthusiasts and dropping big cash on expensive custom boots or MTO boots or just really nice ones, it's a bummer if you buy them too small. And as far as I understand, like the boot's meant to flex after the arch before the toe box, so kind of like right there where almost like where the laces start. I mean, it depends on the sole really, not the upper, but there's a flex point like past the shank where your boot's supposed to do this. And if your ball isn't sitting exactly there, it can actually give you foot pain. It can also make the shoe not break in correctly and wear correctly. So yeah, it's a big deal. And
yeah, it's always meant to be the widest part of the boot or the shoe.
Yeah, exactly. So if you kind of see like your shoe kind of go like this, it's like the fat part. But if I understand correctly, it's the widest part of the upper, not the widest part of the sole, right? Is that correct?
I was always told the sole. I mean, I guess it depends. If most boots I've sold, the widest part of the boot is the sole as well. So maybe it depends on the shape of the boot.
Yeah, I was thinking that, and I assumed it was that simple. But I noticed on some boots, like the curvature of the inside of the instep, if you look at it top down, the fattest part of the instep or the midsole is not necessarily exactly the fattest part of the upper. So I was like, well, maybe you kind of average it out and kind of pick in the middle or whatever. But I think independent of, you're probably right that it's the sole because that's the part that has to flex. But I guess regardless, if you look at most U.S. based shoemakers, they'll tell you that they base themselves on Brannock. So we're like, in the case of Viberg, your size is usually Brannock -1. So if I'm a US 11, I buy Viberg size 10. Or Red Wing, I think they're Brannock -0.5 for some last or 0 for others. So like a Postman, I'd buy a US 11, which is why my 10s don't fit. Or if I was buying like an Iron Ranger, I think I'd buy a 10.5, whereas I've historically bought a 10. And so like a lot of my shoes just don't fit anymore. So it's worth investing in one. Or if you've got a friendly shoe store that's local to you, go pop in there and ask them to do your arch length in addition to your heel length. That said, though, I don't think most UK shoemakers use the Brannock. Like I went into Trickers and they just started like grabbing shoes and like putting them on my feet and kind of like squashing my feet and stuff. They never actually measured me, so I don't know. Interesting, regardless.
I do remember as a child going to Clark's, and they'll always have the proper foot measurement device, and they put a little bit of tape around the top of the arch. So yeah, Clark's always did.
Yeah, Clark's and Hush Puppies. Yeah.
I don't know whether that's changed recently, but I agree. I think a lot of shops nowadays probably won't measure your foot unless you specifically ask for it. They'll just say, "Do you want to try 9 or 10 or something like that?" Which is, I guess, also kind of a changing service, maybe.
Yeah, it's a shame because I've definitely like sold my Alden Shell Cordovan boots, which now I realize why they're always kind of a bit squashy in the toe. And then I need to sell my indie boots, and then I've got some Vibergs that probably technically don't fit me anymore. One of them's unstructured toes, so maybe it'll kind of.
It will give a little bit, but if it's not that comfortable, then there's a little bit of, unless you want to do some kind of experimental changes to your boot. But yeah, we've talked about this as well. I've had very similar issues post-COVID with my feet splaying a little bit, and I've had to sell quite a few of my booties, unfortunately.
Maybe a separate discussion topic in general is apparently over life, people's feet will naturally increase in size. So there's almost this kind of like interesting thing where it's like, unless you are really rigorous about your lifestyle, you'll probably get fat as you get older, and your feet will naturally get bigger whether you want them to or not. And so it begs the question a bit about how much we should invest in high-end footwear, knowing that I'll have it for life, but in 10, 20 years, like your feet are almost guaranteed to be bigger, and therefore your shoes won't fit.
My feet are big enough as it is. I'm already a size 12. I don't want to get anybody bigger.
12 and a half's in your future, man.
Although I got a pair of Dana boots that my girlfriend got me for my 40th that were too big, so I've not worn them, and I've been meaning to sell them. So you're saying I should keep onto them
Keep them for
Yeah.
when you're 60.
when I'm 60,
Yeah,
and I've got these big old fat size 13 feet.
20-year investment plan, mate.
Yeah, I was keeping them in the cupboard, and then one day I'll be like, look, they fit. Oh, great.
And at that point, they'll be vintage, so
Oh,
even
yeah,
cooler.
Yeah, worth a fortune.
The Dana boots are chunky enough, and especially if you've got size 12 feet and then accidentally buy Dana boots that are too big for you, they are some big ass shoes.
They're
So
quite
I
heavy.
recently did some Dana research, and as an example, they size to Brannock. So they basically say our shoes are sized to Brannock. So would you take your Brannock device Brannock size exactly? So like I would buy a US 11 in Danner, but they say that said, even though they are sized to Brannock, they're a little bit long in the toe box because they're kind of a bit narrow. So say some people will size down half a size from your Brannock size, just because of the length of the toe box, but that only kind of really works if you've got a narrow foot. And if you've got a wide foot, then you probably stick to your normal size. So I think this is why a Brannock device is so interesting, in that if it's an American-based company, it's almost like a math formula that's like guaranteed to be right on their website. And obviously, they all have disclaimers that everyone's feet are different. Your left foot and your right foot probably aren't the same size. Blah blah blah. You're missing some toes, but in general, it seems like it's a pretty useful system. And they should have these things like in every shoe store, and everyone should know how to use them because they're dead simple and they're cheap. There's like just a chunk of aluminum. Yeah, it's interesting.
Cool. Thank you for the foot science, David.
Definitely
Foot
measure folks
science.
up at the next hang. But I'll bring
let's
lots
all
of
get our feet up.
I'll bring lots of hand sanitizer to after dealing with your grubby socks.
Is it just going to be feet you're measuring, David, or any other body parts?
I want to know my
Well-
width.
Tom's just gonna sit on it.
Sorry, Lex.
I'm a size 3.
I'll make sure and bring my kids Brannock for you.
I guess I'll go next.
Yeah.
I have been listening and just finished last week Shoe Dog by Phil Knight, who's the co-founder of Nike, or Nike for the UK population.
Ooh, I'd love to read that.
It's really, really good. It kind of chronicles, it's a memoir, and it chronicles his, the journey from him starting Blue Ribbon, which was the first sports company that he founded, traveled to Japan, and was distributing Tiger Onitsuka in the US, and that's kind of how he started. But yeah, it just kind of chronicles all the steps the business went through, all the challenges it went through, and yeah, I kind of got a much deeper appreciation for Nike and the kind of the history and its innovations that I guess I knew, but I forgot about, and especially with all maybe all the bad press they would have received over the last 20 years or so, especially like in the 2000s, about the factory conditions and things like that. They probably, kind of suffered a little bit from that point of view. But despite that, yeah, it's a really interesting book, and yeah, it just kind of shows, if you persevere and if you keep going, and if you take risks, it's sometimes it pays off. So yeah, it was quite enlightening, and yeah, quite inspiring as well. So really enjoyed that.
Have you listened to the Sneakonomic podcasts?
No, I haven't.
So that's, if you're into kind of shoe history, that's a really good podcast.
Okay.
It covers, again, Blue Ribbon and the start of Nike, but as well all of the other shoe manufacturing. It basically has a history of trainers.
Okay.
And it covers all of them. So for any kind of sneaker geeks out there, I'd really recommend that. It's a really interesting podcast.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily a sneaker geek, but I like learning the history of these kind of of brands, and especially if it's people behind them. That's what I quite find fascinating. But I'll have a look at Is it Sneakonomics?
Sneakonomics. I think it might be done by the BBC, but again, it's available wherever you get.
Sneakonomics BBC4. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
That'll be the one.
Yeah, I'll have a look at that.
Just subscribed to both that and the Appalachia one on my phone, so I'm keen to check those out. I'm actually a bit of a closet Air Max fan. I remember when the Air Max 95 came out when I was in junior high. Yeah, and like falling in love with those shoes. And my buddy lent me his pair because like I couldn't afford them at the time, and his were all beat up. But I was like, oh, these are so great, and someday I'll own them. So I've kind of got a couple Air Maxes that I love. And I'm interested to know, does the book go at all into like the design of some of the like really famous Nikes, or is it more just like kind of the evolution of like the business abstracted from individual shoes?
It goes into a couple of them, but it's more about the technology. So like when the air bubble was introduced, there was a little bit talking about that, but it's more about the business side of it, I would say, rather than going too deep into specific things. I think it's more about the people around Phil Knight that were there with him at the start of it. So, but yeah, they do touch upon a bit on a few models, obviously, but nothing in great depth. Of
I'm still slightly emotionally scarred. I remembered I had my favorite pair, which is still my favorite pair, the Air Max 1999 tuned. Or Tune Max 99s. They've got two names, whatever. And I remember I was like walking through the Urban Outfitters in Austin right after uni one day, and like I was like walking around and I hear,
oh no!
And I look down and like the kind of like magnetic security tags that they would like put through clothes so you don't steal them, that have that big push pin. Like half of one of those was laying on the ground. It had like gone through my air bubble. And I tried to like super glue it, but they're pressurized, so like I always had one shoe that was like slightly squashy afterwards. And I believed in Nike's customer service at that time, so I was like, I contacted them. I was like, hey, can I send them back and get another pair? And like, oh yeah, we'll send you another pair. And I was so excited, gonna get my shoes repaired or replaced. Like 3 months later, a box shows up and I open it and it's like a different Air Max.
Wow.
And I was like, that's not my shoes. I was so saddened because like it was not the same style, and like they just weren't as cool. So I remember having to put my pair, this other pair on eBay, and like crying the whole way through it. But they just re-released them. They just re-released these Air Maxes last year, and I bought a pair when they did the reissue. But that was also during the pandemic when my foot had grown half a size. So I had to sell those on, and I finally got a pair half a size bigger. I haven't even worn them yet because I'm like, they're such like a historical thing. But interestingly, at least from what I remember at that time, the construction's nowhere near as good. Like there's a lot more faults in the make, and like kind of bad stitch here, glue splooge there, and they just definitely they're not made as I remember them being made. But that said, maybe I'm just kind of more woke to craftsmanship.
Well, maybe, but also like one of the things he does touch upon is the use of different factories, and first they were making them in Japan when it was still cheap to make them in Japan. Then they went to Taiwan and Vietnam, and then finally into China. I think they were one of the first sneaker companies to go into China, so they had a head start on that side, which has really, really helped them. So yeah, I'm sure your different iterations of your Air Maxes were made in different places and different factories and so forth. So yeah.
Yeah, the children can't work as high quality. So.
Yeah, I'll touch on something similar in a later discussion topic point.
Lex, would you like to go
all
next?
Right. Okay, so it's been a while, hasn't it? Obviously, since we've had a discussion topic. So I will do a long and slightly rambling story about white t-shirts, if that's okay.
Yes, please do.
Yes.
And it's
I'm looking forward to this.
Why
it may
not?
or may not have a point, so I apologize if it doesn't have a point. It probably doesn't have. Nothing I says has a point, really. Anyway, so I went on holiday a few months ago. Before I went, as you do, I wanted to buy some new fresh white t-shirts because, you know, white t-shirt on holiday is always good. So I went to the local Edwin shop to buy, you know, they get 2 packs of t-shirts. Went to buy a 2-pack of t-shirts and they'd sold out. And I couldn't find any of these 2 packs anywhere. Went on holiday without my t-shirts. Came back and I was like, right, I'm going to look to try and get some t-shirts. And I thought, I want to upgrade because I've been like thinking, you know, I want to get a slightly nicer t-shirt without spending too much money. So I went onto the market. How do we pronounce market?
Market. Yeah.
Is it just market?
It is market.
Market.
Oh, bother.
Unfortunately,
Anyway,
yeah.
Music's my
Remember
ears.
market.
market. Anyway, I went on the market website and got some Trust t-shirts because I'd read about them. And they came back and they didn't quite fit correct. So my second attempt at buying t-shirts had failed miserably. So then I managed to somehow set up an account with Amazon Japan to buy some Whitesville t-shirts. So that took a while. Actually, no, I forgot. I bought some t-shirts actually from another Japanese website. Got them sent through, and they're the wrong size, so I had to give them away to my brother-in-law. Set up an account with Amazon. Then tried to buy another set of t-shirts from the same website. Bought them, and then they contacted me saying we can't send them through to you because of Brexit. You need to do an order of over, I think it was about 150 quid, which would involve me buying 8 t-shirts to do that. I was like, I don't need 8 white t-shirts. So that got cancelled. Then went on to Amazon Japan, finally managed to get my white t-shirts from Whitesville. And if actually it's a reasonable price, I think I managed to get 2 pairs two 2-packs for about 100 quid, so 25 quid a t-shirt. Got them sent through, really excited, turned up in the post. Bloody FedEx left them on the doorstep and then someone stole them. I have a really small front garden, like it's about 1 meter long, and literally just left it on the doorstep. Like, it could not have been more obvious. So there's now like some pikey in Peckham who's walking around in these snazzy, really, really nice quality Japanese t-shirts. Anyway, finally, about my 5th or 6th attempt at getting t-shirts through, I ended up I think it's Rodeo Japan on Japanese Amazon, basically resent them for free because obviously they got nicked, and eventually I got them and I'm wearing one now. So the point of that long and rambling story is, one, the whites, I don't know if you guys have ever buy a bigger front garden, which in London is not possible. Is one, I would recommend Whitesville t-shirts. I don't know if any of you have ever bought any before, but really good quality t-shirts. Once I got the right size, I'm really kind of pleased with the fit and the quality of them. I really like it. 2, setting up an account on Amazon Japan, actually you can get things quite cheaply because they cost about I didn't pay any import duties. It's about half the price that you'd have paid for getting them in the UK. And then point 3 is just the amount of bloody difficulty that we as a kind of group of people go through to get the simplest things. I was telling this to my mum and she was like, why do you have to buy white t-shirts from Japan? Why can't you just buy a white t-shirt?
Can't you just go to M&S?
Yeah, and I'm like, but they're Japanese white t-shirts. And she's like, yeah, but it's a white t-shirt.
Not the right kind of white t-shirt though, is it?
I was like, yeah, but this is a good white t-shirt.
Yeah.
The irony is it doesn't really have anything to do with our interests, but rather it's all to do with the UK government. Like in the US, Obama put I forgot what you want to call it, like a executive mandate or something, in order to boost international trade. And you can get anything shipped to the USA from anywhere on the planet under $800 US and not pay a penny of duties, tax, whatever. So it's like, if you're in the States, it's like open season to order from your white t-shirts from Japan, whatever. It's just this damn UK government that wants to.
Unfortunately, our MPs don't know how to negotiate with anybody else outside their own country.
Hey, Liz Truss, who is very much likely to unfortunately be our next Prime Minister,
God.
She negotiated an amazing trade deal with Japan. No one knows actually what the concessions are, but there was a deal.
It was a
I
deal,
mean-
but they won't tell you what happened in the deal.
Yeah, because fuck all was organised.
Thing with Parliament is they just spend too much time shouting and not enough time actually like working through problems. Whenever I hear how Parliament sounds, like from an audio standpoint, it's like it's complete insanity. But I guess they get stuff done, so
But
whatever.
That's just half the time that's just PMQs, which is just an excuse to shout at whoever's the prime minister and tell them the shit.
Got to get out that repression somehow.
Yeah. Stiff upper lip.
Yeah, I had some Whitesville tees legs, but I also sized wrong. I actually bought them in person in Japan. I didn't have much time buying in person, and the guy was like, "Oh, you're like double XL." So I was like, "Are you sure?" He was like, "Yeah, you definitely be fine." So I took the 2-pack. You know, it was all shrink wrapped and stuff like that. Brought it home, and then I was like, "Yeah, this is like way too big for me." So I ended up giving them to Sebastian, who filled them up better than I could have. What size did you go for?
Well, I had exactly the same. First time I bought them, I bought double XL.
Yeah.
Because I took the measurements and it said on the website they shrink slightly. So I was like, that'll probably shrink down to my size, and it didn't shrink at all. So
Yeah.
Again, I gave them to my brother-in-law who filled them up. So I went for an XL in the end, which is actually still quite loose on me, but I quite like it like that. So
Yeah. So are you wearing it now?
yeah, XL.
Yeah. So like the shoulders a little bit. There's a drop shoulder. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really
Yeah.
quite drop shoulder actually. Yeah.
So I've gotten a bit of feedback from some of our listeners that they sometimes struggle to follow some of the more kind of geeky side of our conversation. So might be helpful mentioning like how you spell that brand's name, Whitesall. So I'm not familiar with it either.
Maybe you should stop
Whites-
talking about
Whitesville.
Whites.
It's Whitesville, mate. As in
Whites
like,
Mill.
as in like a town.
Ville.
Yeah. Ville.
Damn,
Whitesville.
Yeah.
British people, I don't understand
White-
half the time.
VILLE.
And also, I'm dyslexic, so I can't spell anything. So I would not ask me for a spelling. Otherwise, God knows. Especially if it's called Whitesville, I'd send them to some weird racist website or something like that. So do not ask for my spelling.
So it's WHITES Mill, MILL.
Ville.
Ville.
Ah,
Ville,
right,
as
okay.
in like a town.
Ville.
Like, you don't get it really over here, but like an American town.
Yeah, okay, so like 50s town with a diner, everyone's wearing white t-shirts. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Whitesville.
And
Similar question.
If
5
our
minutes of our
listeners,
podcast dedicated to the pronunciation of a t-shirt brand.
if our listeners are finding,
ASMR.
if our listeners,
And on the sizing topic, so you guys mentioned like XL, double XL, etc. Are these US sizes where it's actually got the letters, or are these Japanese sizes where it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that kind of thing?
It's actually XL. It's not Japanese sizing 1, 2, 3, 5. They just have small, medium, large, XL, and double XL. So
Okay.
standard sizing. But
And
it's,
are they sized for a Japanese build or for like a Western build?
I've slightly Japanese, I'd say, because the t-shirt, the XL that I've got is slightly wide for me, but I wouldn't want to size down because then it'd be too short because I'm quite tall and slim.
it's a regular cut, isn't it? It's quite a boxy regular cut, I would say. But the length is decent on that. It's not too short or anything. So I think it should work for quite a few body types.
Yeah, I'm happy with the fit. As I said, I'm quite tall and slim, so quite often with Japanese brands, when I buy them, I find out that either to get them the right length, I have to get something that's really kind of baggy on me. But this isn't too bad.
And Whitesville is a sub-brand of Toyo Enterprise.
Oh yes.
And I've heard that name thrown around before, but I'm not too familiar. What else does Toyo make?
Sugarcane, Buzz Rickson, Cat's Paw shoes.
So a lot of really solid stuff.
Yeah. Very, very solid brands.
very big brand.
Sun Surf as well. The Aloha shirts. Tom, any others that you can think of? What's the shoe brand? The Wolf shoe brand.
Lone Wolf.
Lone Wolf.
What, Lone Wolf? Yeah,
Yeah.
they own that as well. So yeah, they've kind of got a big market of brands, of quality brands. There's, I'm just trying to think. There's a little sub brand that does the chinos. Really good quality ones. I can't remember. But yeah, if you have a look up Toyo Enterprise, you'll find all the sub brands that they look after. And
I've mentioned it before briefly. It's completely off the topic of Toyo Enterprises, but Benzac, their shirts are great for quite tall people. Like I'm 6'2", 187 cm, and like their mediums are like ample long for me. They're not loop wheel shirts, but like yeah, their heavyweight tees are great if you're on the taller side. So I guess because they're made for a Dutch customer, they're an Amsterdam-based company. They're good if you need a long shirt.
yeah. And Andy and I are just about to get some old but gold t-shirts via Mike from Wild Frontier Goods.
Ooh,
Yeah, we
so-
are indeed.
So he's gonna dye them for us. So yeah, we're excited to get some of those.
If anyone didn't catch it, make sure to listen to our last episode where we interviewed Mike from Wild Frontier Goods, and he talked about his dye process for the shirts. What color are you guys getting, or what type of dye is it?
A canny. So the pinky bright reddy color. Yeah.
Very cool.
Which I can't remember what the actual dye for that is.
It's a root of some kind, isn't it?
It is a root of some kind. Yeah.
That sounds super cool.
Yeah. So that should be probably maybe next month or so.
Nice. I don't know how to pay you for that.
I haven't paid Mike yet, so Mike.
Oh, fair enough.
Send us an invoice, please. Yeah.
Yeah. On that note, I saw that Mike posted on his Instagram that a lot of the leather prices are going up in Japan. So it's going to be a bit more of a struggle for him, I think, going forward to keep making his craft at the same price point. So if anyone's been interested in getting something from Wild Frontier, it's probably a great time to put an order in to kind of help support them and seeing through these price changes.
Yeah, 100%. Especially with him having access to these leathers, you're not going to get them cheaper anywhere else. And one thing, I guess, Mike could go and say, oh, I'm going to just buy cheaper leather or different type of leather which doesn't cost as much. But I don't think that's kind of one he wants to do, and he doesn't want to necessarily sacrifice going for a subpar leather because he enjoys working with the best kind of quality materials. So yeah, I think the price hike hasn't gone up yet, so if you are looking at something, it's a good time to do it.
Cool. Shall I go next?
Yes.
Yeah.
Go for it.
So the other month I went on a stag do. I think I broke my toe or something, so that was fun. It still hurts a bit to walk. Classic. And it wasn't even like that exciting or a fun activity where I broke my toe. We just had like a really long corridor in our Airbnb, and we were running really fast down it, and I like stubbed my toe, and it like bled everywhere, and I was like, okay, that's why it's hurting. But then the bleeding stopped, and it just continued to hurt. So occasionally it feels like it's gonna like pop out, which is really interesting.
Did you leave any satanistic messages in the Airbnb for someone with written with your toe?
No, just lots of empty bottles.
We're in the UK and we have a taxpayer-based health service, so you can just go and see a doctor.
Yeah, but like, because it's like my big toe, I don't think they'll do anything for it. They'll just scan it and be like, "Yep, that's broken."
The NHS actually tells you. No, the NHS tells you to stay at home for broken toes.
Does it?
Yeah, because I broke mine. Because I dislocated it as well, so I went to hospital. And all they do is sellotape it to the next toe and then tell you to get on with it.
Bit of a splint.
Yeah.
Use your
Maybe
second
that's
toe
why.
as a splint.
Just go.
Yeah, no, that's literally what they do. You
Just
go
like
in
In the
and they,
States, they would normally replace all of your bones with adamantium steel for the cost of $50,000 US.
And set you up on a drug program.
Yeah, lots of opioids to go with that.
All they do here is just look at you and go, stop being a fanny, and then
Yeah.
and tape it up.
It's
How
above
long
that.
ago? How long ago did you do that, Tom?
Oh, it's like been over a month now, so yeah.
Yeah.
The rocks kicked in. Everything smells slightly of almonds. It's gone
How do you
green.
measure if your
It'll-
foot shape's changed.
Yeah.
David's kink coming out now.
Let me measure your feet. And then to kind of survive in the heat, I got some lovely TCB monkey pant shorts in tiger stripe. I'll stand up.
Nice.
Have you cut a hole in the back of
Back pocket?
the massive butt pocket?
No, why would I do
No.
that?
Then you'll never need to go to the toilet again.
Actually, I know a
Open up
factory
the
that might
flap.
be able to sew that for you.
You need a butt flap. Yeah.
No, I'm not going to change them, but it is interesting, like walking around my work office in them, and people are like just staring, like, why has he got a big pouch on his ass?
iPhone, dude.
You know, you have to explain. The only thing I find about them is that the front patch pockets aren't in the most easily accessible place. They're a bit weird in
What do you
terms
mean?
of, because they kind of like
Stand up and
start-
show us.
Don't stub your toe.
they like start just here on the widest part of your hip, so it makes it like hard to get the space to get your hand in.
Okay. Yeah.
Which I'm guessing is just kind of, you know, the way they're quite high waisted, so the pockets end up on that kind of wide part of your hip, so it just makes getting stuff in and out of your pockets a bit annoying, really.
Maybe that's where you'd like put your pistols if you were, you know, kind of a troop and you need to like get easy access and
Grenades with your dildos.
Dildos in the back.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to do some editing now.
Yeah, I'm back.
Only a coward edits.
Yeah.
I'm gonna like take Tom off the podcast and relegate him to like a Sons of Selvage podcast only fan page. Where you can
He's behind a Patreon paywall.
I'm the BBC Three of the.
I'm sure there's some software, David, which will recognize Tom's voice and you can completely cut him out.
Well, it's really funny because like the format of this podcast is heavily inspired by the Sons of the Secret Cabal
It's
gaming
inspired by us.
podcast. It's the Secret Cabal gaming podcast, and it's like, you know, 6 dudes who are like really into board gaming, and they've got one guy named Steve, who's basically like really cheesy jokes and like toilet humor / like high school sexual humor, and Tom's our Steve Spang for this podcast.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is a compliment. Steve's cool. He's funny.
Thank you. I'll take that. And if any listeners have any issues with me, then I'll fight them. I won't. We'll get there. But yeah, apart from that, energy crisis that happened. So that's been interesting. So you are all welcome for your very high energy bills.
It's not like I needed the money anyway.
Yeah, I know. Who needs to buy Whitesfield
Yeah.
t-shirts?
Well, you didn't want that.
Well, I ended up joining your energy company when I changed. So maybe you can get me mates rates on my gas and electricity.
Yeah, well, I'll get you the referral thing. Like, hit me up. £50 credit for everyone. Yay! My code is. And yeah, apart from that, been doing my little men.
Yay!
Yay! Little man. Apart from that, not really. It's just not the season for buying denim related stuff apart from these shorts.
I think it's more like it's not the world climate for buying denim these days.
Anything, yeah. Yeah, you did kind of make me think whether I should cut my tiger stripe fatigues off and make them into shorts.
But you've already got tiger stripe short shorts.
Yeah, but then I could
Mix it up.
layer them up.
Also,
I'll
it
tell
means
you
you
what.
can wear them. You can wear tiger stripe in polite company on a hot day.
Without the potential risk
Without.
of.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I can't get high enough. Oh damn it! That.
yeah.
Look at
Thick thighs save lives.
that.
Oh no, wait, yeah, no, I did get my. Was this before the last one or after? My World War II Homo Tool jacket. With
Which
13
jacket? Did you say homo tool?
A herringbone
Heavy
twill.
metal.
Oh, herringbone twill. Okay.
HBT, often
HBT.
Yeah.
abbreviation.
Yeah,
written
a very
online.
nice first pattern herringbone twill HBT 13-star button jacket, which is very
What
nice.
do you mean by first pattern?
Uh,
Oh, that's the brand name, right?
no.
No,
As
no.
in, it's like the first model that the U.S. military or U.S. Navy made, and then they slightly amended it in like 41 or 42, and then there's like a second pattern which is a little bit more popular, a little bit easier to find in terms of vintage pieces.
Ironically, there's actually a company called First Pattern. I think
Yeah.
Vision Road maybe
I'm sure.
sells them.
I'm sure they're
That's
probably. Yeah.
First
They make
pattern
some cool
RN,
stuff.
isn't it? That's the Italian
Yeah.
brand. Yeah, they make some stuff's interesting, some stuff's completely
Nuts.
weird,
Well, yeah.
like the hood.
The hood, yeah, that's what I was thinking. The hood, yeah, they've got some really cool stuff, but yeah, that hood was like, okay, this is like really interesting. But I guess some people out there wearing them.
Just having a look at their website.
Yeah.
He's
I actually
Unfortunately-
quite like the innovative stuff when like people kind of push the envelope.
Yeah,
with
it's good. It's
materials.
good. It's good. I think sometimes it's gonna really hit, sometimes it's not. But yeah, it's good to be brave and put things out like that. Yeah. Unfortunately, my my HBT shirt is just ripped on the back yoke, all across there. So I'm trying to get it patched up and darned. But yeah, I think because it's such a old piece, the fabric started to almost become see-through at the top. So yeah, I don't know whether it's best to put some kind of backing on the top panel.
What if you did like camouflage boro type repair?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Because if you go to a surplus store, you could probably buy just the same kind of material, or even or like a vintage piece that's like not a special one, and just like borrow on the some cool camo.
You should get who was the guy who had the vintage shop near Brick Lane? Oh, it's just close.
Ben.
Yeah.
Hangout Vintage. It's actually where I bought the shirt from
Okay.
Ben. So yeah, I think he's just actually started taking on repair work.
Yeah, because his stuff's
Um,
always, he tries to find the right
Yeah.
fabric to kind of match up. Obviously, it'll look a little bit newer, but
I'm going to be a little bit cheap, and I'm asking Lucy from BLA to do me some repairs.
nice.
So
Yeah.
so I'm helping her out with a few bits, and yeah. Who is also a student of Lex, isn't she?
Yes, so yeah, one of my students, my MA student, works with Ilya at Black Horse Lane. So she's a talented student. So hopefully she's a good.
She is very
better be
talented.
You better
Yeah.
be paying her properly.
Yeah. She's a future of Black Horse Lane. I'm trying to sign her up full time because I think she's got a bright future.
Cool, good news.
Have you jumped on the industrial machines yet, Ilya?
No. I'm the only thing I've jumped on is the darning machine.
Get on those. Get on
how
those.
hard it is.
Yeah, get on those industrial machines. I think that's my regret. Maybe is I waited too long to start sewing stuff. But like, after work, it's like those machines are so capable. You can really make some cool stuff with not a lot of learning.
I
That,
don't know.
the Reese 101 machine's fucking beautiful at Black Horse Lane. Really, really nice.
Don't start trying to use that machine, because if you break the presser head, I don't know if you can replace those really anymore.
I'm sure there's spares somewhere in like Vietnam.
Yeah, it's just tricky. It's tricky to get some of that stuff, and there's only a few guys who can repair them as well. So no, I'll leave that to the people who know how to do it. I'm not that great with machines. My wife is much better than me at those. So I'll leave it to the technically inclined people. But maybe one day. Never say never.
Yeah, I bought a domestic machine probably like 6 months ago. I won't go into too much detail, but I will say that yeah, it's already like paid itself back just in terms of like, as you mentioned, like cutting off your trousers and making shorts, or
Yeah.
repairing garments, altering garments. It's like, man, I didn't realize, like, I only paid like 300 pounds for it. It's not nothing too fancy, but it's like, man, having a sewing machine at home is just like so great. It's like, oh, this kind of sucks. Oh, I'll just change it and like make your garments better. So definitely recommend folks give that a try.
You'll get to the point where you get a constant stream of people asking you to amend stuff. Once people know you can sew, oh, can you hem this for me, please? Oh, this needs hemming.
Have you done any cool projects recently, Lex? Any repairs or anything? That's
what have I been doing? I've been doing a little bit of darning. I've got a few pieces I've been darning at the moment, but my darning machine stopped working the other day, so it's half dismantled at the moment. So I need to look in and try and work out what's wrong with it. Oh, it's still working. It's just making really weird, scary noises. So I need to kind of work out where that's coming from before I carry on. Yeah, bit of darning. Done a bit of pattern cutting and sampling for a guy called Sharp Eye, who's got a brand, Sharp Eye. So yeah, Barry Sharp Eye. Which Ilya put me in contact with. Otherwise, not that much, to be honest. It's been too hot.
Yeah.
Too hot to do anything, especially when you got all the machines on. It gets so hot in here, so I can't complain.
Yeah, I need to get my machine out and do a little bit of crotch repairing, taking out some trousers for a wedding. I'll do a little bit of work on that herringbone twill jacket because it's got kind of like a little rip on the shoulder and there's like a little patch behind where someone had like previously tried to repair it. But yeah, I need to get it out. All those little jobs like build up and you're like, oh, okay, I'll have to get it out soon. That's what he said. Way.
I also wanted to give a shout out to Bilby, who we met at Clutch Cafe. Was it last month or this month? Beginning of the month?
I think this month,
yeah, a couple of weeks.
Yeah, so if you haven't heard of the brand, the chap's name is Tom Bilby, and yeah, one-man brand, making everything himself, based up in the north of the country.
It's in Hull, I believe.
He's in Hull. That's it.
Hull.
Yeah, I couldn't remember exactly which city. Yeah, so he's based in Hull, and yeah, he's making denim and HBT garments, and he's just put out a parka or a hood parka, I think. But yeah, he's got some great denim and Japanese HBT. So definitely check him out if you haven't already.
And I think it's kind of quite an interesting story. He got started. He's a fashion graduate. I think he said it's Manchester Met, and then basically graduated from uni in COVID when there was basically no jobs, especially in kind of Hull. So he just decided to start his own like one man denim brand, and he's actually got it going really quickly, and actually built up quite a cool little thing in I think about a year and a half he's been going now, so in a really short space of time.
That's good.
Yeah, he had some really cool looking overalls on when we saw him. I didn't get a chance to talk to him, but looked like there was some pretty cool
Yeah,
stuff.
so I think he made those especially for that evening. So cool. yeah, really talented, and he's, some of the stuff is very repro based, but some of it is quite a take on different styles. So definitely one to watch out for and look and support. So.
I'm looking up his website. That way, folks have the right name. What's his website?
Bielbys.
Bielbys.
I'm doing it ASMR.
Yeah. .com.
Bielbys.
HTTPS.
Cool. All right.
Colon.
Looks like he's on Instagram.
There's no colon there.
/
Knew he'd have to get that in.
No, I'm just trying to help out our listeners who sometimes say they can't really follow some of the brands we're talking about. So just trying to help.
I was talking about Tom's use of colon.
Oh, What's funny, the way you guys say "hole" sounds a lot like "hole," so it's probably also worth clarifying that it's Hull, the city of Hull.
Pronounced
Hull.
Hull.
Hull. Properly known as Kingston upon Hull.
Oh, really?
I think so. I'm probably talking out my arse there, but yeah, everyone just calls it Hull.
Go there for a hullabaloo of a
Kingston
party.
upon Hull, city in England. It's just everyone just calls it after the river that it sits on.
Hull, like they make ships there.
It is a port city actually, so I wouldn't be surprised. There is definitely shipping involved there, or there was.
Yeah, not anymore. We don't do that
Yeah,
anymore.
from what I know, it's pretty grim up there.
We just have fishermen.
And that's relative to the rest of the UK, or just
Hull is a very specific kind of grim. Apologies to people who live in Hull, but
apologies, you have to live there.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I can't really say much. I come from Morecambe, and kind of our British listeners may know of that town, and it's not exactly the best place to live.
Do you know, I went down to Bristol the other month. Very, very nice town. Very, very nice though. Surprisingly so. Yeah.
Bristol.
Yeah, Brizzy. Go on.
Has Ricky done his pilgrimage there yet?
No, well, we were supposed to actually go yesterday, but I think with all the logistics of moving around, we found that it was going to be quite difficult, so we've kind of postponed it for another time. Ideally, I think it'd be best to do it by car. So yeah, I think we're going to try and maybe move that.
The train's not too bad there.
No, it's because
that's a long journey.
No, it's because we wanted to see Jamie at East West Apparel, which is just outside of Bristol, and then we wanted to go into the centre of Bristol just to have a look around, and then it's and then return back from the centre of Bristol. So it was a bit of a triangle of connect the dots, and we just thought it might be we need to plan better and maybe, like I said, have a car to do it rather than
and wait for boot weather.
Wait for boot weather. Yeah.
I've passed my theory test in the UK, even though I've been driving for 24 years in America.
Congratulations.
So if I get my practical test done in the coming months, we can pile into my tiny Skoda Yeti SUV and drive to Bristol.
There we go. Sounds like
Sons of Selvedge road trip.
For listeners who don't know the UK very well, basically our buddy Ricky wants to try on some boots and really wants to try them on in person. So he's going to get the train from London to Bristol, which is probably 2-hour train ride, just to ensure that he can try on the boots, which is impressive determination.
Dedication.
Yeah.
How was your visit there, Tom?
Yeah, no, really good. Lots of breweries there, and lots of really nice breweries as well. And we went for a brewery tour, which I'm not going to remember the name of the brewery. But the nicest stout I think I've ever had, and I don't like stouts, but there was this particular stout that they were like, oh, it's a little bit more hoppier, like an IPA, so it doesn't have that kind of really burnt aftertaste. Bloody beautiful. I mean, I was quite drunk at this point, so that might have affected it a little bit, but it was very nice. But in terms of the actual city itself, it's quite uni, young, hip and happening, a few vintage shops and stuff like that. Obviously, nothing kind of our level. Yeah, very, very nice, very, very pleasant place. Good.
There's that little villagey part up the hill that's kind of supposed to be where kind of a lot of the cool shops are. It begins with a C near the bridge, the suspension bridge. That area is quite nice. Yeah.
There's quite a nice little few barber shops and stuff like that, and a lot of the old town kind of left with these kind of Victorian era buildings, which was really nice. Yeah, worth a visit. Yeah, definitely. Has Ilya disappeared? Into the denim.
He's fucked off. He's had enough.
He's like, I'm going Bristol now.
Yeah.
Andy, do you have anything you wanted to add in, or?
to be honest, actually, yeah, there's been quite a bit. 'Cause, yeah, I missed the Julio episode. For I can't remember why now. And then obviously we had Mike, and I didn't really talk then because I was just generally shattered. And Mike is amazing at just going off as a storyteller. So yeah, there's been quite a bit. I've actually bought a few things over the past couple of months. First up, I bought Ilya's Flame Panda combat boots because he's got Hobbit feet now, and they don't fit him, so I grabbed them. And yeah, they're great. I haven't really had much chance to wear them because of the weather, but yeah, they're lovely. They fit me perfectly.
Bastard.
Yeah. Just trying to get used to the conditioning regime, because I know Ilya said that he found quite a lot of products don't really work their way into that leather. So we're trying to it's just trying to work out what works on that. I've got some Renovateur stuff, some Saphir stuff that I'm going to try. Smith's initially worked when I left it in the sun, but it kind of never soaked in fully. So
yeah, I think it's just sunshine, mate. This is
Yeah.
we're talking about Mariam Horsebark leather,
yeah,
which was a little bit discolored after the rain and the dirt that kind of went into it.
yeah. Tried to. I managed to get I got the kind of the marks out of it.
Yep.
But it's now kind of, that area now is exceptionally paler than the rest of the boot, so it's just trying to get that back.
Well, I
It's
did
gonna
that
take a while.
before. I did that
Yeah.
before on a different part, and it
Yeah,
became discolored as well, became pale, and then I left it in the sun, and it kind of gone back to it. So you just kind of stripped it off again. So
yeah.
that's what I was saying. Just leave it in the sun like today,
Mhm.
in the garden, and then it will pick back up, and then just wear it, and yeah, it'll eventually it's going to darken up anyway, all of it. So yeah, you'll just get there. It's just that kind of in between time.
Cool. Yeah, I'll get on top of that. Other bits and bobs. Perfect for the weather. I grabbed one of this year's Del Rey shirts by Indigo Fairer, the kind of half sleeve linen shirts. So I got that in olive green, which is the only colour that seems to be available over here this year. I think last year they did it in a really nice black. But yeah, it's fantastic. It's just that right weight for summer. And with that half sleeve, you can give it a bit of a roll, and it kind of sits really nicely, just kind of like just above the elbow. Yeah, and obviously Indigo Fairer being a Swedish brand started by a couple of big bikers, the cuts are a really good sizing for me, kind of really good fit. So yeah, that was a nice little kind of last minute, kind of off the cuff buy. I say that because it's still quite, still not a cheap thing, but I just thought it'd be perfect for the weather, and actually it's proved to be. But my son likes putting food on it, so it's constantly in the wash. The joys of having a toddler. And then what else? Oh, I had
What are you wearing? What are you wearing, Andy?
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, I'm wearing a t-shirt by
A t-shirt?
A t-shirt, a white t-shirt,
A white t-shirt.
a white t-shirt,
White t-shirt.
yeah, white
t-shirts,
t-shirt,
Phil.
yeah. This is by our very good friends Ed and Mike, who have started their brand, Dart.
The art.
Dirty.
Darte.
Darte.
Yeah, I assumed it was like a fictional person named Darte.
Darte's
Yeah, so
Inferno.
Darte just unsubscribed.
Yeah, so obviously they started their brand not long ago. They had their little launch party. Their stuff is now live. I think mostly it's pre-order, but the t-shirts are kind of, you can just buy them.
Yeah.
They're kind of more they've done more of them. Yeah, it's great. It's again, it's a really, really good fit. I think this is an XL, which they said is more like an American large. I'd say it's more like a European large to American medium. But yeah, sits really nicely, good length. You can tuck it in if you want. It's got a nice little. It's got the logo on the front, and it's got a little graphic on the back. Really excited to see what they do next. The indigo HBT or navy HBT fatigue trousers are really cool, and were something that I had an eye on. But I've been offloading stuff at the moment rather than buying. So I kind of, and then the money I got from offloading stuff went towards another kettlebell because I can't go to the gym anymore because I don't have time.
Living that swole life.
It's more it's thick at the moment, and it's mostly because I've been eating cake.
Yeah, I've gotten in the habit of using like my TRX in a tree in the backyard, and my neighbors are probably looking at me like I'm some kind of idiot, or like kettlebelling on my patio. I kind of like the whole workout at home thing.
Yeah, and it's just because I've moved teams at work, and where the new team I'm part of is very process driven, so you've got to be at your computer at certain times for certain things to be done. And so the kind of time I have available to do any kind of fitness work it's quite short. When I'm in the office, it's not a problem because the gym is 2 minutes walk away from my office, so that's fine. But at home, it's so lame, isn't it? It's literally like I've got to drive 10 minutes to get to the gym, and then drive 10 minutes back. And it's those little things like that just cut into your time. You're like, I can't actually do what I want to do, so I'm just going to cancel my membership and then throw chunks of steel around the garden. Hope I don't break anything.
I'm guessing you do some Turkish get ups to like break in a new pair of jeans.
Fucking hey, Turkish get ups.
That's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorites.
The swing. I'm following what's he called? Jeff Newport is the dude. This is so if anyone who listens who likes things like this, any kind of fitness and kettlebells, there's a dude called Jeff Newport who's kind of like the OG of kettlebells after Pavel. And I think he's part of the same group as Pavel, so there's like the Strong First group, and he has done like tons of kind of training programs and books, and you can download them, and some stuff's available for free. And I first followed his dry fighting weight program that was really, really it's quite a simple but a bit of a beast. It's just half an hour of clean and presses and front squats over like in it programmed in, and now I've moved to another one he's got called the Wolf that's a bit more technical. Only takes like 10-15 minutes to do, and then I've attached onto that another one he's done, and it's horrible. And it's all double kettlebell work, which is a whole new ball game to just throw one around. So yeah,
does it involve any uneven stuff? Because that's quite good as well.
You can do that. I mean, some people, because you're meant to go up after like every time you've done the program, you're meant to go up a level in weight. And obviously, if you don't have two of a higher weight, then you just offset it and swap it around each time round. But no, I'm still at like first round, so I'm on 2 24-kilo kettlebells on this one. It's not fun.
Have you thought about investing in adjustable weight bells?
No, I'm not. I don't. I prefer a proper competition bell, just because it's just got a better construction and grip to it. Nice and tougher. It's nice. Yeah. And then I can have a little collection in the shed, which will piss off my wife no end. The shed is
especially if you ever have to move house.
Oh god, yeah. Your shipping weight's gone up massively. Why? Because of these things. These big metal testicles that you've got in the shed.
Testicles.
I have 2 kettlebells. The competition which my girlfriend bought me for my birthday, literally because they're the pink ones and they look like a pair of ball bags.
Perfect.
So I've just got
perfect.
We all know about truck nuts back in America, right?
Truck nuts.
They're basically like the receiver hitch for a trailer. You can buy like metal balls that you put into.
Oh yes. Yeah.
You can get them for bikes as well.
I don't know if they've ever crossed the Atlantic, but you could be the first one in the UK with truck nuts.
I'm gonna become an exporter.
They are grim.
in truck beds.
Especially, they're even better if you put them on like a little like LEG, like 1 liter tiny car or something.
Put them on a little moped.
Oh,
I'm back on my bike.
Yeah,
I guess something I can add in is I've been on a journey with a new shoe company, so I've been getting into the Yucatan shoe world. I'm historically a fan of hand sewn moccasins. Like I've got some quoties I've worn for like 10 years religiously. And I tried some O Street Bootmaker hand sewn mocks, but the sizing is just a bit off. But yeah, yeah, it's true. There's bike balls too. But yeah, so anyways, I thought I'd share a couple learnings from Yucatan. So I'm not going to go too much into the history and stuff, but there's a recent episode of the Shoe Cast Stitch Down podcast where they interview Yuki Matsuda, who's the founder of Yucatan. He also founded Mon Italy and one or two other brands. But anyways, the reason I want to talk about it is some sizing advice. So I originally had bought a pair of their they're called all hand sewn sports mock. In short, it's a moccasin on a crepe sole. So kind of a cross between like a Clark's, a Wallaby and a like a quotey mock. But interestingly, I got them in a US 11, which is, as I mentioned, my new size, and they were like teeny tiny on my feet. And I was really confused and kind of, I sent them back. And along the way, I figured out that all Yucatan shoes aren't made in the same place. So the pair I have here, which is called the Angler Mock, these ones are in fact sewn in Maine, so they're proper made in USA. But I've also learned that Yucatan makes some shoes in Portugal. They make some shoes in Mexico. And if I understand correctly from the latest episode of Shoecast, they're moving, I think, their U.S. production potentially to Italy, or adding Italy as a fourth maker. But what I hadn't understood, but I do now, and I think people need to know, is that each of these factories don't have exact copies of the same lasts, right? So like the U.S. factories got a particular last from like the 1950s that was popular for hunting shoes and fishing shoes then, whereas the one in Portugal's got a different last, and presumably the ones in Mexico another last. So I got these guys off of Grailed, and they're a US 11, and they're made in USA, and they're spot on to the Brannock fit. So like they're an 11 Brannock, fantastic fit, and they fit me great across the toe box, heel, whole 9 yards. But those ones that were made in Portugal were like a whole size too small, and I would have needed a US 12. So if you're interested in Yucatan, which I recommend you might want to be, because they've got this like crazy, double layer midsole, and like the actual insole's got like multiple pieces of leather and steel shank and like crazy arch support. I mean, they basically like intentionally overbuild their shoes to a ridiculous level. Like intentionally just kind of like, oh, let's add another layer for more thickness, or let's put another steel shank to just make them as hardcore as possible, even though there's not really any need to. So they're super beefy, but you got to make sure you pay attention to which factory they're coming from.
That just seems like such a bad kind of process to have that
it is
inconsistency between the different factories. I mean, you're always going to get some inconsistencies and differences if you have multiple factories, because there'll just be the slight tweaks on, say, quality control and this, that, and the other. But the fact that they're working off different lasts to produce the same boot or style seems like a really arse backward way of producing something, because that's going to negatively impact your reputation, because you're effectively you're saying your quality control is subpar because you're allowing those differences to be made.
It's slightly different. It's particular styles come from particular factories.
Oh, okay.
So like, you can discern on a per style basis where that style was made. So for example, the Angler is a USA made shoe. Okay. The main guide boot, which is probably their most famous one, is a US made shoe. but some of the like ones on like a crepe sole are made in Europe. So basically, when you go to their website, it's still a ball ache. I'm not gonna kid here. It's like it's frustrating that you can't just pick any shoe off the shelf and expect it to fit the same because it's got the same brand. You have to know on a per style basis. It's like Angler,
But that's the same as other brands like Viberg will have, 5 or 6 or 8 lasts, and you have to know which last you're buying because they're going to fit. They're going to fit slightly different between each one. Some of them you're going to have to size up, some of them you have to size down. So as long as they make it clear that this is the lasts and this is how they fit, then that's fine. I don't see that as a big problem.
No, I thought it was that they were making the same boot in different factories.
Yeah, that would be messed up.
Yeah, it's a per style thing, and their website is transparent. It's like this is a U.S. made shoe, and it's U.S. sizing, exact to Brannock, and they even go further and say like, if you're a Nike, you go down half a size. So I'm 11.5 Nike, so I'm a 11 Yucatan, or if you're 11 Brannock, you buy 11 Yucatan. So it works perfectly fine for their American shoes. And like, I tried on another pair that I didn't keep, but like they're really consistent within their USA stuff. And a little trick that might help if you buy anything secondhand, like I did with these, is I can't quite show you here, but they hand write with a ballpoint pen on the insole M or W for men's or women's, 11E, 10E. So like the US made ones, like someone's like handwritten the size in the insole. But yeah, you got to watch out for the made in Portugal ones because they do show them on their website as EU sizing. So that I bought a EU 44, but it does claim that a EU 44 is a US 11. So I thought it would be the same exact fit, but it was like my toes were like bashed at the end of the other ones, whereas these guys are on the money. Another thing about Yucatan I'll add as well is they've got a bit of that kind of streetwear crossover. So like you don't just have to find them at a raw denim shop. Like you can get them at like a Mr. Porter or a End Clothing and some of these brands, which is quite interesting because some of those shops do like ridiculous markdowns. So at the moment, like on Mr. Porter and End and some of these websites, you can get a $500-600 shoe that's fully hand sewn by a dude in Maine for like $200. So if you kind of follow the seasonal trends of like stuff going on sale and coming, kind of like clearing out a season stock and doing the next season, you can get a really, really high quality shoe for a pretty sweet price. And they've been around for like 30 years. So there's a good secondhand market on like Grailed and eBay and stuff. So definitely recommend them. They're using Vibram soles, Cortina sole, which is like kind of like a commando sole that's made in Montana. Or you can get like, in all their leathers, they'll use like a flesh out leather rather than a suede. So the leather is full thickness rather than shaved down like a suede would be, or a Chromexol. They do even a couple bits in Cordovan. So like they really kind of do the extra mile to kind of beef up their construction. And though I'm not going to try and explain it, it's definitely worth Googling Yucatan construction. Because they even have these like infographics showing like all of the like 8 layers of material that go into their soles and midsole. So yeah, I think glowing endorsement so far. If you're into hand sewn style, which I really like. But yeah, just be careful. You check for a given style where it's made before you buy them.
Nice.
Go next.
I guess I'll go next. What have I been up to? I have been making use of my motorcycle and been going down to the coast a couple of times recently. And last weekend was Dice Magazine's 101 run, which was quite a cool event, which featured quite a lot of Harley Davidson choppers. Traditionally, that's what they have. And previous to that, there was a launch party up in Walthamstow in Signature Brew, which I've also attended. And what I love about these is I get to go there and take snaps of people in a very candid environment.
From behind a bush.
From behind the bush, yes. And then get complaints about it. Yes. So yeah, and most recently, Dice have featured some of my photography in their blog, which was quite cool. So yeah, I'm kind of trying to expand on that and do a little bit of that. But yeah, it's also a nice community, and you get to meet up people that you've come across in different parts of of your life. So Julia attended the launch party, and that was cool. Also met Terry from Wild Turkey, who I've known for a number of years now. And yeah, it's just a nice gathering of cool bikes, cool merch, and most importantly, cool people. So yeah, that was really enjoyable. So yeah, hoping to do a few more ride outs to different parts of the coastline around near to London.
And for those of us that don't know Dice Magazine, like what's it about?
Motorcycles, basically motorcycle culture, anything to do with that. So you've got artists doing lots of different work, like paint work, people who build bikes, tattoo artists, kind of everything that surrounds that, that kind of the subculture. It will go into that. So
yeah, that's cool. It's interesting to kind of, there's obviously this whole like what do you call it, like cafe racer kind of heritage modernization bike scene. Is that like, does the magazine kind of focus on that, or is it just sort of like any bike culture?
I think
who's it for?
It's more aimed towards kind of people who like to build their own independent bikes. So it could feature different kinds, but it's not really sporty bikes. It's more kind of heritage bikes. But yeah, anyone who's doing something interesting, basically, on some kind of independent level, mostly, I would say that's who it's aimed at.
Did anyone pick up the latest Clutch men's file?
Oh, I've got a bit of a bugbear with that one. So I've never bought Clutch or Men's File before, and I grabbed a copy at the most recent Men's File launch. It was the London issue, and maybe I'm just getting old, or maybe I'm a bit out of touch, but I assumed I'd be paying like £20 ish for the magazine, and so like I just kind of, said, hey, let me grab this. It's during the events, there's people everywhere, and it's kind of crazy. So I'm like, yeah, let me just grab this, and just slapped my car in the contactless reader and didn't really pay attention. And then like I was later on my way home, and I look at my Monzo feed, and it's like 35 pounds. I was like, holy shit, man. I guess maybe you could argue you're paying for two magazines in one. But yeah, I was actually really surprised how expensive it is.
I'm just trying to think. The normal Clutch magazine is a little bit cheaper, not by much, but I think it's maybe around 25, 28 quid, and the double issues are about 35 quid. But yeah, and I think I assume also the price, they're printed in Japan, I believe. So, and they get shipped over here, so that probably adds some kind of pricing onto that. Plus, it's all kind of, it's done independently. It's not done on a large scale. So, they don't have huge sponsors behind it, although, there are ads in the magazine, but it's mainly ads that you'd probably, the brands that you're kind of into, or you would be into. So, yeah, I think it is quite pricey, but if you're into the subculture and you're into this, into the scene, I think it's personally worth it.
And when you say double issue, does that basically mean a Clutch issue that adds Men's File onto it, or do you mean that they always have both, but it's like double
So
thickness?
I think Men's File is every
6 months.
Every quarter, yeah, or something like that. Maybe 6 months, or yeah, I'm not sure if it's biannually or every quarter. So, and then in between that, you'll just have Clutch magazine by itself.
I see.
So you'll have separate issues, and then yeah, they'll add a Men's File on the other side. So you've got, that's what I call it, That's what I'm calling a double issue there.
Okay, so you're basically paying more, but you're basically paying for the
You're
men's
getting
file
two, yeah.
add-on.
Exactly,
Oh, okay.
exactly.
Okay,
And
that's
you know,
cool.
and the men's file bit is probably, you know, in some ways more interesting for a Western audience because it's in English and
You can read it.
yeah, you can read it. And there's also, it's not just, whereas Clutch magazine is more like, oh, here's the new styles and there's a little write up, whereas men's file has a bigger write up on you know, interviews and also go and see someone. So there's a little bit more, it's a little bit more content there than just pictures and, you know, this is a boot from this company, blah 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 blah. So yeah.
Well, yeah, Nick's an awesome dude, and you know what he does with men's file is really laudable. So yeah, I could totally get with paying that extra premium to get a men's file added on to my Clutch magazine. Essentially, that makes me feel a lot better.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah, but I've always said this, but yeah, the Lightning archives are probably the best ones to get because they cover a broad range of topics. Again, within this scene, and they have, you know, some fantastic imagery in there and some fantastic references, which are always helpful if you're kind of looking up things, or, you know, it's like, oh, what's, you know, whatever is this piece from, or things like that. So
And those are in Japanese, right?
those are in Japanese, but again, the text is minimal, and you can just use the phone camera Google app to to translate, you know, the minimal text that they have there. Lex, you were going to say something?
Oh, they had, yeah, when we're in Clutch, so talking of expensive magazines, they had one of the latest Lightning guides out was about Hawaiian shirts.
Yes.
And it looked amazing. I was like, wow, this is great. And our friend Ed asked how much it was, and it's 60 quid for the magazine. Which I was like, I've got quite a few Lightnings, and they're normally like 25, 30.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that a new version, or is that a reissued version? Do you know?
That I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm wondering whether that was like a rare issue, which they've just decided to price up. Because
I do know they did bring one out recently, so I think there is a new Hawaiian shirt one. But how did you see how thick it was? Like, was it quite a thick one? Or?
Yeah, it's a big old magazine. Yeah, it was quite thick, but not really any thicker than the kind of the usual Lightning workwear ones that you get. So.
I imagine a little bit of it is Hawaiian shirts are very popular at the moment, and designers and stuff, you know to pick up a Lightning magazine to get ideas from. So maybe a little bit of that kind of goes to the price.
There's probably that. Yeah.
But I think this one was full of the Sunsurf archives. So I think it was all of like the archive garments that Sunsurf used to kind of to replicate for their collection. So.
Oh man, when I was doing a short course at Central St. Martin's, they had this book series. I'm trying to find the name in my Google Photos, but it was like a book series that got published, I think by maybe Ren Tanaka, who I forgot. I know the name, but I forgot his kind of claim to fame. But it was like these amazing book series, like My Free Dam, but it's like DAMN. And they did these amazing books. Like there was like one all about vintage tees, one all about souvenir jackets. They were all printed in like the 90s or something. And you can only get them on eBay for like hundreds of dollars because they like did like single print runs and stuff. But yeah, these books were so cool, and I'd love to get some of them, but I'm not even sure if you can anymore. But it's a My Free Dam. DAMN, and they did like so many cool books. Yeah, I'm kind of going here. It's like one just on Lewis Leathers, or like just one on West Coast shoes.
Rin Tanaka did a really great book about motorcycle jackets called The Century of Leather Design, which a lot of people have taken inspiration from. So yeah. He's got definitely got some great some books out there.
I'll be damned, no pun intended. I'm on the My Freedom shop right now, and they've got a whole bunch of his books that I thought were no longer in print available for like 50 US a pop. So like Lex, there's one here, My Freedom Volume 7, Vintage Beach Fashions.
Ooh.
And I think I remember these being pretty big, chunky books. So yeah, it looks like some of these you can actually get them for about $50 a pop.
Oh yeah, it's got
Interesting.
some good ones. There's
Yeah, I thought
King of
these were all
Vintage,
out of print.
Yeah, $49.99.
Huh.
It's not bad.
If I was an archival person, which I'm not, I would definitely snag some of these up. Like I remember My Freedom 5, the rock and roll book being pretty cool. I'd maybe get that one specifically, personally, because there's like a lot of like cool rock style, you know, kind of greasers, 60s rock, 70s rock. But yeah, anyways, pretty cool stuff.
cool. Thank you for
And
that.
I think there's some more that you can't easily find beyond just these ones. But if anyone can get into the CSM, Central St. Martin's library, I think they've got like the whole set there that you can just kind of like go through them.
Well, I can access it, so I will. I'll have a look next time I'm over at King's Cross. Have a snoop for you.
Yeah, I remember scanning a bunch of them. I think there's some more beyond just these ones that they had that were kind of like big coffee table ones, and maybe that's the ones you can't get. But anyways, yeah. Report back. Let us know what you find.
Can I tell another story?
Yes.
Okay, this is a good one. I hope it has a point. So my stories don't always have points. So basically, a couple of years ago now, so one of my best friends, him and his missus started a business. They started like a big sewing factory out in East London, and the business is doing really well. But as if anyone here has ever started a business knows, you make virtually no money through your skin. So my best mate Josh, I was like, he didn't have any money to buy new clothes, and he still doesn't really. So I made him a pair of jeans as a Christmas present, probably about 2 years ago. You know, just so he basically had something decent to wear. But I was kind of making them based on a pair of his that I'd seen. So they came out a little bit tight. So he didn't really wear them for a while until early this year or end of last year, when all his other jeans felt a bit. So he had to wear these jeans that were slightly too small for him. Anyway, so he's been wearing these jeans for maybe the last, I guess, 9 months or so regularly. What I didn't tell him is when I made them, on the pocket lining on the back pocket, I embroidered a cock and balls.
Yes, I love it.
It's like jean
So-
nuts.
Anyway, if you check your WhatsApp now, boys,
Oh, that's outstanding.
That is class.
So
That's
Anyways.
amazing.
I met him for a couple of drinks. I met for a few drinks a couple of weeks ago, and he was wearing the jeans. So I was like, Josh, can I look at your ass? And he was like, what? I was like, can I look at your ass, mate? Anyway, yes, basically after I don't know 9 months, a year of wear, however long, he now has a really tiny cock and balls on his back pocket. Which
Lex, I
Brilliant.
You
feel
know
like
what?
this is a great place to start a brand.
that's
Secret schlong.
yeah, which he'd been wearing and he'd not noticed until I showed him the photo. For our listeners, if you check out the Instagram page, we'll upload the photo to Instagram so you can kind of see one, my level of immaturity, and two, what I did for a long-term prank.
I think you might have told us about this at one of our like in-person hangouts a couple years ago. I feel like I remember you mentioning something about like someone's jeans would eventually fade to have this in their back pocket. Maybe
Yeah,
we were talking about like people who put
We've
like
come
tobacco
full circle.
tins or something.
Yeah, I think I have mentioned it to you guys years ago once I did it, but I had no idea whether it would actually work or not, or whether when I embroidered it, whether it would be.
Is the payoff.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Jean graffiti.
Yeah. Is it really bad? That's one of my proudest moments.
Banksy would be
not.
proud.
Definitely.
It's quite subtle. I mean, he'd never even noticed, so he doesn't care. He thinks it's quite funny. And I was like, if he's really offended, we could have just sanded it away lightly anyway, so it wouldn't tell. But yeah. Anyway, that's my second story for the episode.
Thank you, Lex.
My friend Ben, when we used to work at Levi's together, I was the alterations person, and he'd always be like, "Oh yeah, can you just like slightly take these up, or like slightly taper these or whatever, just to get like a little bit of a better fit." Every single one that he still owns, all of them have a penis drawn on the inside. And occasionally he'll send me a picture just like, "Oh, I forgot that was there." And it just never washes out. Yeah. I'll always be with him.
It's worth mentioning that this is definitely not commonplace in our hobby. I think we've got like a small microcosm of dudes into raw denim here. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, this is interesting.
Disclaimer.
Anyone else need anything altered?
Lex and Tom are a part of some kind of hive mind that's slowly putting phalluses in everyone's clothing.
Cult of the denim penis.
Kevin, who's obviously not in the chat today, he's going to see that cock and balls in the WhatsApp chat and be like, "What on earth are they talking about?"
No context, just no context, just post it.
He's Dutch, so he'll have no shame. I mean, like, there's nothing that can offend a Dutchman.
That is true. Is that a saying? Is that a fact?
It's a challenge.
Yeah.
Challenge accepted. Where are you, Kevin?
Tom, have you got any other things to share? No?
I don't think so. It's just too hot.
It's too hot. Have we got any questions that we need answering?
Yeah, questions.
Oh, yes.
I think we may have one or two.
Yeah, we do actually have one exactly on that subject. So
denim penises?
No. Although that probably factors into this question, but what to do for denim in hot weather from MXN Boots Boy, who's a regular listener. Kaz, thanks for the question.
Wear shorts.
Yeah, wear shorts.
Yeah, don't wear it.
Yeah. And I've said it a few times, and I'll say it again. Denim Bermuda shorts, which is basically like a 5-pocket chino short pattern. So like, you've got your slash pockets on the side, you've got your welt pockets on the back. So it looks like a chino short, but made out of denim. It is a great way to go. Not enough brands make them, as I've harked on about before. But I'd say 5-pocket chino shorts made of denim are where it's at, but not jean shorts. So not. There are
a couple of brands that do what they refer to as like a summer weight denim. So you're kind of looking at like 10 ounce. But still, I mean, especially for a lot of our kind of American, the American listeners that we have, and if we've got any in kind of Southeast Asia and the like, this would not make you bat an eyelid at all. But obviously, like over in the UK, we had a heat wave, a very short-lived heat wave, for a couple of days earlier in the week, where we hit like the highest temperatures ever recorded in the UK, which was about 40 degrees centigrade. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. David will know because he's American. They all use
103, 104
measurements.
It's 103, 104. So in my office, it was measured as 41 Celsius, which was 105 Fahrenheit.
Okay.
So yeah, 104 is roughly 103 will be 40 Celsius.
Yeah, and that, I mean, like for us, UK has a surprisingly stable climate. Was like it was unbearable to wear jeans.
Climate.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't think any of us were wearing jeans those 2 days. I know I certainly won't be wearing jeans today when it's going up to about 30. So yeah, and actually we had this question asked on our Discord, which we do have. And recommend people to join it because it would be nice to have more people on there so it can be a bit busy, and we can kind of shoot the shit there. But Jake also asked that same question on our Discord, so people know him on Instagram as Almost Vintage Style. Though his twist to it was no shorts.
Yeah.
How to deal with.
So I would say if you gonna wear jeans in the heat, go for a looser cut.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got a little bit more airflow.
Yeah, as loose as possible.
loose as possible. Go for a lighter weight denim. I was testing out the cotton linen mix for Black Horse Lane, which I found to be really, really breathable and relatively comfortable in
Would that be closer
hotter
to
weather.
chambray?
No, it's
Denim?
still
I
denim.
suppose
It's just less starchy, what I found, and it softens up a lot quicker than a cotton would by itself. So after a few wears, it's already kind of has that easy drape on it. And yeah, I think, linen is quite good in the heat. So yeah, something like that. And yeah, maybe maybe wear shoes with low socks or no socks, or sandals or something, wherever your shoe preference is for that time of year, to get extra airflow down on your on your ankles. That's kind of the only thing I would advise when if you really want to wear jeans. So yeah, that's kind of my tip.
I've got a fun little project that might be worth collaborating with Lex on if he's interested. So I was in Greece earlier this month / end of last month on holiday, and like when you go into like Greek clothing stores in the Cyclades Islands, they all kind of like embrace the like full linen outfit thing, where it's like linen button-down shirt, linen trousers. And I was thinking it'd be really funny to do like a capsule kind of thing where you make like a linen 5-pocket jean and like matching linen like
Linen
Western
Canadian
shirt
tuxedo.
or something.
Be like the man from Del Monte.
What's Del Monte?
Oh yeah, this is a UK thing. Del Monte is so some people are going to tune out on this. Del Monte is a brand of that does like tinned fruit. And
Oh, Del Monte.
Yeah.
Right, Del Monte fruit. Okay.
Yeah. And the adverts were a dude who used to go around to like various hot countries in a white linen suit and a Panama hat, checking out the fruit, and he was the man from Del Monte.
I don't know if I ever remember there being Del Monte. Well, Del Monte is what we'd call it back home. Commercials on TV. I mean, you obviously you'd see it everywhere in the grocery store. You're like 10 pineapple and that kind of shit, but or like questionable origin bananas. But I don't remember there ever being TV commercials. But yeah, I think there is some kind of like there's some truth in linen for hot weather. But one thing I wanted to throw out there, and this is maybe a challenge to Jake, is how can you be anti-shorts but embrace t-shirts, which are essentially the short equivalent for your upper body? And this is a challenge. This is a challenge for anyone who, like, I mean, I'm wearing a t-shirt and shorts. Like, I'm not going to hate on either. But it's like there's people who are like, I'll never wear shorts. I die before I wear a pair of shorts, like to my grave in full length pants. But they'll like wear short sleeve tops, and I just don't understand that ethos of like, why would people show their arms but not show their legs? Like, what's the difference?
Dudes with skinny legs.
T-shirts.
I don't give a shit.
I think it's also because t-shirts are traditionally like they're traditionally like an underlayer, aren't they? So that's why
But it's still part of underwear, isn't it?
Yeah, but like it hit a period in the 50s, isn't it, where it kind of became more acceptable to wear it as it was, whereas shorts, I think,
never became acceptable.
They've always been, there's, up until kind of a certain point, they were always, you wear them at the beach or you wear them doing sport or whatever.
Yeah, but
you don't wear them.
World War II, the Gurkhas in their Gurkha shorts.
Yeah, but that's not walking down the street, is it?
But tees weren't.
That's wearing them in the jungles of
like,
but
it's the same as wearing fatigues in the jungle.
Yeah.
And then now people wearing fatigues and
these were English people. Like, if anyone's gonna have get all uppity about wearing trousers or shorts, it's gonna be English people.
Yep.
So.
But I don't think tees were ever like properly accepted in U.S. culture in like mid-century. Like it was like, if you're a greaser and you wore t-shirts with your jeans, you're very counterculture. Or if you were like, I don't know.
Which is what a lot of the heritage scene ties it leans towards is that counterculture. You never saw greasers cutting around in shorts.
I'm not
Did you
sure
on their
that's
bikes?
true. I'm not sure that's true. I mean,
David's going to dig this up now and get it on.
no, I mean, I'm skeptical, right? Like greasers in like Arizona, they surely probably wore shorts, you know, or like greasers in Texas, whatever. I mean, I know the quintessential look was the t-shirt and the jeans, but that's also because jeans were counterculture, right?
Yeah.
I think
Maybe
I'm sure they would have had cut off shorts at some point, but I mean, if you were a greaser, you know, you might have been like had a motorcycle, and you probably wouldn't want to have shorts on the motorcycle.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why. But yeah, I guess it just wasn't that. It wasn't as part of the romanticized culture of it, so that's why it, you know, wasn't maybe accepted in the same ways as jeans are.
just to put it out there, I'm doing a quick Google, and the Sandlot, which is period accurate to a T, it's perfect. One of the characters from the Sandlot was wearing shorts on in that movie.
But they're all like 12-year-olds.
Yeah, it's
we
all
don't
right for kids
walk
to wear
around.
shorts.
I'm being
like
silly
12-year-olds from the 1950s.
It was Ham.
That's
if anyone knows
weird.
Ham, the kind of big redhead dude, he was rocking shorts. But yeah, I love the Sandlot. That was a great recreation of 50s American life. And so, Jake, if you like the Sandlot, you can wear shorts. It's okay.
I'm pretty sure that Jake does like the Sandlot. But he won't like shorts.
Well, if he wants to be fully vintage and not almost vintage, maybe he needs to embrace shorts.
I think he needs to go scuba trunks.
Definitely, everyone does.
Yeah, scuba trunks are the best. Just don't wear them near schools or places of worship, and you'll be fine.
One thing I haven't haven't had a chance to try out yet, but I did see that Full Count makes some really nice chino shorts. So like black, olive, khaki, which in America means tan and Britain means olive. You know, so it's beige shorts. So worth checking those out too if anyone can get your hands on them. They look pretty cool. Cool. Should we do any more questions for today, or do folks need to bounce?
Do we have any? Yeah, I'm gonna have to bounce shortly.
Yeah.
Do we have any other questions?
Maybe we actually don't. Yeah, maybe we don't. But yeah, I just want to plus one Andy's comment about folks getting on our Discord. We'd love to kick it. There's no paywall. There's no requirement to join our OnlyFans or Patreon to access it. But yeah, maybe on that note, good kind of place to wrap up for this episode. So as always, thank you for listening to our podcast. We're almost big 2-0 next episode, which would be exciting.
Whee.
Yeah, it'd be cool. Yeah, so you know,
we don't actually have the Discord link on our link tree.
Yeah, because I think
So
it expires over time. But if anyone messages us on Insta, we can send you a link to it. But I'll see if there's like a non-expiring one. But in the past they had like a timeout, like 30-day timeout or something. So I'll take a look. But if I can add it, I'll add it to our link tree. But yeah, as always, you know, like and review us, whether it's and also subscribe. So obviously these videos are on YouTube now, but we're still on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You know, give us a shout on Instagram and jump on our Discord and join in the banter. We'd love to have you. And of course, we're still trying to organize monthly meetups in London, which Ilya's kind of been carrying the torch for. So come kick it with us next time you're in London as well. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody, and see you next episode.